What's up, guys? We're back with a full slate of MLB playoff action here on Tuesday, October 8th. Monday went okay, guys. Not that great on the football side of things. The Saints plus 5.5 did not come through. Turns out that New Orleans offensive line was just a little bit too banged up. We did hit on Detroit minus 129. The Tigers came through with a good win for us over on the MLB side. Great stuff there from Scooball. No major shock there. We also hit our player prop on that one. Meadows did get a hit for us out there. We also had the Royals at plus 130, a significant upset in that one. We'll definitely take that one. A little bit surprising there to see Bobby Witt Jr. go 0 for 5, but hey, the main money in that one was on the Royals. So not the best night, not the worst night, guys. Let's get back after it here. We have a great video for you today going in depth on both MLB games and getting into some player props as well. And we are going to dive into the opening night of action in the NHL. So you guys in the comments asking for hockey videos, this is your chance. If you want to win all of your bets today, hit that like button. It's good luck and shows support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments absolutely warms my heart. Our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, NFL, NHL, and we have the NBA season right around the corner. This is one of the best times of the year to be in the mix with so many sports going on. Click the link in the description if you're interested in signing up and also to join our free email list to get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Philadelphia Phillies going on the road to take on the New York Mets in Game 3 of the NLDS. The Phillies come into this game probably a little bit unhappy to come away with a split there in the first two games of the series being in Philadelphia. A little bit tough there coming into this game. Obviously off of a win has to feel nice, but still not exactly where they wanted to be. I mean, Game 1, a convincing loss there. Game 2, they managed to win 7-6. So yeah, a little bit of a tough way to go here for the Phillies. They needed a walk-off there from Castellanos to even get the win in Game 2. So they really have work to do. The Miracle Mets seem to be in full effect for this game. I mean, back in Game 2, guys, we saw the Phillies look great. 10 hits, 7 runs. They had an error in that game, so that's not great, but they hit the ball really well. Having Schwarber there at the top of the lineup as DH seeming a little bit suspect, guys. I think we could see them change that around since he went 0 for 5 there in Game 2. Can't really have a dead spot like that at the top of the lineup. We saw Trey Turner look really, really good. Bryce Harper looked great out there. I mean, Harper and Castellanos both hitting home runs. That's really a must-win situation for the Phillies there. I mean, if those two guys hit a home run and you still manage to lose the game, big problems. They're probably not super stoked with what they got out of the pitching staff, generally speaking. I mean, the bullpen, which hasn't been a great bullpen this season, definitely had problems. We saw Sanchez give up 2 earned runs and 5 hits in 5 innings, which obviously not a disaster start, but it's the playoffs. You got to be looking for a little bit better stuff than that. So we'll see what they can do here, obviously, in Game 3. They're going to be giving the ball to Aaron Nola in this game. He's 14-8 on the season, a 3.57 ERA. His last start was against Washington all the way back on the 29th of last month, so that's kind of a lengthy layover, and he didn't have a good outing in that one, really. Kind of got knocked around by Washington. Gave up 9 hits over 5 innings, gave up 3 earned runs in that game as well. He did strike out 7, and he struck out at least 7 over his last 4 starts, so that's nice, but guys, we have a big problem here for the Phillies. Nola, in his last start against the Mets, which was back on the 13th of last month, so not that long ago, he only went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 6 hits and 6 earned runs, including 2 home runs in that game. Just not a very good outing. It was a game the Phillies lost 11-3, so lots and lots of reason for concern here for the Philadelphia Phillies. Not where they want to be right now in this series, and their pitching staff not filling them with a lot of optimism. Obviously, the starter, bad history against the Mets in his last start against them, and that's not what you want. You want to be able to put a guy out there that's throwing the ball great all season long, and I guess in his defense, he did have a complete game shutout against the Mets back in May, but I don't think that really matters anymore, guys. So definitely reason for concern here about Nola, reason for concern here about the Phillies bullpen. Not been the best bullpen over the course of the season. They did get better there in the back half. I would say the last 30 or so games of the regular season, the bullpen looked much more reliable, but overall, guys, across the board, not really a bullpen that you want to be hanging your hat on. I mean, you hand them a 1-run lead in a playoff game against a team that can hit like the Mets can hit. how confident can you really be? So definitely room for concern there in terms of the offense. I mean, the Phillies have been one of the best offensive teams all season long, really no doubt about that. But yeah, they've had their issues. They've had guys in slumps. I mean, they finished the year 5th in runs scored, 5th in batting average. They're the 5th best offense across the board. That's what all their numbers will tell you, and I think the numbers back that up pretty well, and the eye test backs that up as well. They've got some really talented guys out there, and they did have a really good game hitting the ball in game 2 there. I mean, obviously putting up 7 runs is fantastic. You just can't have somebody at the top of your order going 0 for 5. That is really going to slow things down. And it's not like this is a lineup that's, impervious to people having problems. I mean, Schwarber, this is a lineup that can strike out a good amount. Obviously, seeing Turner and Harper, Castellanos all hitting the ball really well. I mean, Stott hit the ball really well there. So, yeah, definitely plenty of positives. But outside of those guys, it was kind of a bleak day. So we'll see what they can do in this one. I'm expecting reasonable stuff here from this Phillies offense as the series continues. I mean, they've been good all season long. They've got some veterans out there, like Harper definitely qualifies as a veteran. He's been in big moments in the postseason. Don't see him being too shaken out there. So we'll see what they can do here going up against the Mets, who come into this game fresh off that tough loss. They were within striking distance of putting a stranglehold on this series, going up 2-0, about to go back to New York. But yeah, not exactly what came down, came down to the wire there, but they ended up losing that game by 1 run. I don't think they have to feel too bad at all, though, splitting the first 2 games there against the Phillies, and escaping a Zach Wheeler start there with the win has to feel fantastic. In that game 2 loss, they did get, I would say, okay, maybe stuff from Severino, but he's supposed to be one of their, top pitchers, and 3 earned runs over 6 innings on 6 hits. Not necessarily amazing. The bullpen also really had a bad time. So yeah, not their best stuff. Seemed like they kind of used up their best stuff there in game 1. They'll be seeing if they can bounce back here a little bit, giving the ball to Sean Manaea, who finished the regular season 12-6, 3.47 ERA, so a pretty good year. His last start was against the Milwaukee Brewers. Not a great one. 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, so definitely not terrible, but it was a game we saw the Mets eventually lose 5-3. He did some positive things out there. He didn't shoot his team in the foot. He kept them in there definitely with a chance to win, only giving up 2 runs. Not the end of the world. So we'll see what he can do here against the Phillies, a team that he faced back on the 21st of last month, so not that long ago. It was a pretty good start. 7 innings, 3 hits, 3 earned runs, and the 2 home runs. A bit problematic. 0 walks in that game, so that's something positive there. So I'm not going to say he's got amazing history against the Phillies this season. He's had 1 terrible start against them in June, 1 very good start against them in May, and then that start that we already discussed earlier, not very long ago or late last month. So yeah, Manaea, a little bit concerning. Not huge concerns, don't get me wrong. I do think there's a very likely chance he could have a decent outing here, but not somebody you can definitely just you're going to hand this guy the ball. This isn't a skoo ball situation. This isn't what we would have thought a Wheeler situation would be. Like, Manaea, very unlikely to go out there and just throw some sort of shutout performance. I have my concerns about him. And in terms of concerns about the Mets bullpen, I know they're coming off of a pretty weak game there in game 2, but generally speaking, down the stretch of the season, they've been decent. Are they going to be able to bounce back? I mean, in game 1, we saw some better stuff from them than we saw in game 2, that's for sure. And that was basically a full bullpen style of start. And yeah, not a lot of cracks in the armor there. Everybody looked pretty good. So those guys should be about ready to come up and pitch again, or at least some of them will be. So the bullpen situation for the Mets seems at least slightly better here in this game, but definitely not a bullpen situation that I'm nuts about. We did see them hit the ball pretty well. The offense looking good there in game 2, obviously scoring 6 runs in the postseason. You expect to win that game the vast majority of the time. Lindor continues to hit the ball well. Nimmo, everybody, really this lineup just hitting the top of the lineup, especially hitting the ball really well. I mean, we saw an Alonso home run. That's got to be a good feeling. But they wasted a really good game. I mean, you hit 4 home runs in a game and you lose in the postseason. That's a pretty tough look. So we'll see what they've got left in the bats for this one. But I'm expecting a pretty good day at the plate for the Mets. Kind of similar to what I'm expecting for the Phillies here. So, guys, looking at the numbers for this game, we've got the Phillies at -112. We've got the Mets at -104. We've got an over-under of only 7 in this game. The Phillies ended the season as a 500 team on the road. The Mets were 46-34 at home this year. So, yeah, pretty good home team. In terms of the over-under, we've actually got both teams showing trends towards the over in this spot. The Phillies 42-35-3 to the over on the road. The Mets were 42-38 to the over at home. So definitely some trends towards the over here. And guys, in terms of a side here, I am shading just a little bit towards the Phillies. I think it's not a big lean though. I don't really love the side in this game very much at all. I could see it really going either way. But what I really am interested in this game, guys, is that over. I think over 7, an extremely good spot in this one. I think we're going to see plenty of offense once again here in game 3. I don't think going to New York is going to completely silence the Phillies' bats. I don't like what Manaea has done against the Phillies. I don't like what Nola has done against the Mets. Guys, go ahead and give me over 7 in this game. I don't even have a ton of faith in these bullpens, so we could see more late scoring like we've seen in this series and kind of throughout the playoffs, generally speaking. So yeah, over 7, definitely my main lean in this game. And in terms of some player props for this one, guys, first of all, the game prop, I think there's going to be plenty of offense in this game. I think it could happen early. Taking yes run first inning at plus 110 seems pretty reasonable to me. Obviously, those no run first inning or yes run first inning plays are not my favorite, but I do think if you're wanting to take one, you want a little gamble there at the beginning of the game, I think yes run first inning is the way to go. In terms of some player props for the Phillies here, guys, I like Trey Turner to get a hit in this game. The dude has been nuts. You could also take him, on the total bases or anything like that. I think he's going to continue to hit the ball pretty well here. The dude's been great. The dude's been great here in the postseason. He's got experience. I'm expecting continued success for him at the plate. Nick Castellanos to hit another home run, I think is very reasonable at plus 450. If you're looking for a home run prop here, I think that's a good one. You could also just take him to get a hit or total bases or whatever, but I'm expecting more good stuff here. I'm expecting plenty of offense in this game, taking that over, so definitely plenty of reason here to be riding some hitting props. And Bryce Harper also over half of a hit, getting him to get at least one hit in this game, or you could do total bases with him as well. Another very good spot. He's hitting the ball well, seeing the ball well. He's also a home run guy. You could take him. Not in love with the price on him to hit a home run here, but I don't think it's by any means out of the question. Looking at the Mets side in terms of some props here, I think they're very likely to hit the ball well here against a kind of questionable starter with some bad history against them. So taking Francisco Lindor, who he's coming off of a very good game, 2 hits, scored 2 runs in that game 2 there. Very good stuff from him. Over 1.5 total bases at plus 120. Love that spot. That one might end up in the pinned comment. I also like Nimmo over 1.5 total bases. That one's at plus 140, and he continues to hit the ball well. He had 2 hits there in game 2, and I would say he's going up against probably a worse starter, to be honest. Probably a worse starter today than yesterday. So taking him over 1.5 total bases at plus 140 seems extremely, extremely reasonable. Last but not least here, guys, I like Pete Alonso to hit a home run in this game. You can get that at a pretty reasonable price. Obviously, he's a big-time home run hitter, but I do think we're going to see him, he's going to have his chances for sure. I know he hit a home run there in game 2. I think we could definitely see him hit a home run here in game 3. If you're looking for a player prop, I definitely like that one. You could also go the hit or just total bases route with him as well. Would not have any problem with that, but generally speaking, guys, I like a lot of the hitting props in this game. I think we're going to see plenty of offense out there. Like I said, my best lean in this one is that over. I think we see plenty of offense in this game, and I know normally we like to go with sides, but I do think in this spot, the over is the much better value. Next on the docket, guys, we are looking at the LA Dodgers going on the road to take on the San Diego Padres in the NLDS. It's another series we have tied up at 1 game apiece. We saw the Padres come away with a big 10-2 win over the Dodgers there in game 2. So yeah, another series that is switching cities here, and we saw the first 2 games be a split. So good stuff there for the Padres. They got a great start from Darvish. Great to see him healthy again. Flaherty didn't really look ready for the moment, guys. I mean, giving up 5 hits and 4 earned runs over 5 1/3 innings. Not what you're looking for in a playoff level start. And yeah, just Darvish was fantastic out there. The Padres hit the cover off the ball. We saw Fernando Tatis Jr. go crazy out there. 2 home runs in the game. Excellent stuff there for the Padres. You have to be feeling very, very good about their chances after those first couple of games, because they are now headed into game 3, and we're gonna see some pretty positive things, I think, here for the Padres, generally speaking. But we have a lot of very, very talented hitters over there for the Dodgers that had very, very bad nights there in game 2, and definitely in something of a bounce back situation. They didn't look terrible in game 1, so I think it's a little bit unreasonable to expect them to go into some sort of prolonged slump here. So looking at this matchup, guys, we've got the Dodgers coming out here now, with the series tied up 1 apiece. They are going to be handing the ball in this one to Walker Buehler, somebody who did not have an amazing regular season. 1-6 overall this year with a 5.38 ERA. He got his season off to a pretty late start, but one of the main reasons that he is getting this start is the success he had against the Padres back on 9/26. Guys, he had a very good start. 5 innings, 5 hits, only a single earned run in that game. He struck out 1 and walked 1, but a very easy, well, maybe not very easy win, but a win there for the Dodgers. They won that game 7-2. So it was an important game. They really needed it. Buehler came out there and gave them a good start against the Padres. And in terms of, the history he has this season, that's the only start he's had against the Padres, except for going up against them in early May, and that was right when he made his comeback this season. His season effectively started on May 6th, and on May 12th, he faced the Padres and had a really rough time, but this is clearly, not looking like the same guy, although over his last 5 starts in the regular season, he had kind of a bad one against the Rockies and a really bad one against the Cubs. So Walker Buehler, definitely not somebody that I have, the utmost faith in here, despite, coming off of a good start against the Padres. This same Padres team, seeing this pitcher again so soon, is a little bit problematic. In terms of their bullpen, how do we feel about the Dodgers? Well, over the course of the year, they've been a very good bullpen team. Absolutely no doubt about that. And I know the bullpen looked terrible there in Game 2, but I don't think we can reasonably expect that to just continue. I don't think this Dodgers bullpen is just going to get shredded this entire series, although it is something of a concern. They weren't, the best bullpen in the major leagues, but they were up there. They were decent all season long, so I think we can safely expect them to remain at least decent in this series. So we'll see what we get. Obviously, kind of a pressure spot for this pitching staff and for this bullpen. Obviously a big deal, but the real problem for them there in Game 2, except for giving up 10 runs, which is obviously a disaster, we saw the top of the order get absolutely just dominated out there. We saw Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, and Hernandez all combine to go 0 for. I take that back. Hernandez did get 1 hit, but man, the top of your lineup looks that bad, you are going to have a very, very rough time out there. It was not a good night to be a Dodgers hitter, and we know how potent this offense can be, guys. Over the course of the season, the Dodgers have been one of the best offensive teams in the majors, 2nd in runs scored this year, 4th in batting average. They ended the season as the top slugging percentage team, taking that spot away from the Orioles with I don't want to say 20 games left in the season. This has been a very, very good offensive team. They've got the best hitter in the game in Shohei Ohtani out there. This is an offense that is designed to put up a lot of runs, and that did not happen in Game 2. So this is a big, very necessary bounce back spot for them here in Game 3. So we'll see what they can get done here going up against the San Diego Padres, who obviously have to be very, very excited with how things went there in Game 2, piling up 13 hits and 10 runs. Big deal. Doing that at your opponent's ballpark, obviously an additionally big deal. They just looked great out there, guys. We saw Fernando Tatis Jr. go nuts. We saw, Machado look decent up there, kind of starting some trouble, but that's kind of his whole vibe. Overall, a very, very good night to be a Padres hitter. They combined to hit 6 home runs in that game. Just absolute domination there for the Padres. So they're going to be hoping they can back that one up. They're going to be handing the ball in this game to Michael King, who in the regular season, he went 13-9, a 2.95 ERA. So very little wrong with that. And his last start of the year, the guy was absolutely dealing against the Braves. He had 12 strikeouts. And his last time on the mound, he was absolutely dealing. He went up against the Braves. It was a 4-0 shutout. He pitched 7 innings, gave up 5 hits, and struck out 12 while walking 0 and allowing 0 runs. So obviously dominant stuff there, and the last time he faced the Dodgers was back on 9/24, so not that long ago. He had a good start in that one. 5 innings, 3 hits, only a single run allowed. It was unearned. He walked 2 and struck out 3, so there's a case to be made. He didn't even really have his best stuff in that game and still managed to help his team get that 4-2 win, giving up only the single run. Very, very good stuff there. So generally speaking, we're expecting good stuff from Michael King. We've expected good stuff from him basically the entire season. We have not been let down. He had a start against the Dodgers back in May, and he was absolutely dominant. 7 innings, 2 hits, 3 walks, and 11 strikeouts in that one. A very, very good outing. He did get shelled by them back in April, so maybe you could say this is a little bit of a mixed bag, but overall, guys, I'm expecting very good stuff from Michael King, and I have not seen enough that would make me worried that that won't be the case. So pretty excited about the starting pitching situation here for the Padres. In terms of their bullpen, they're obviously coming off of a very good game. They haven't been an amazing bullpen all year. That's definitely, something that's gotten much better for them over the course of the season and here at the end of the year. So give them some credit there for kind of remaking this bullpen, but not a bullpen that I have the utmost confidence in, but I have some confidence, although they're going up against a bunch of hitters that are due to kind of turn things around. So we'll see how that goes. Generally speaking, I do think the Padres pitching situation for this game is significantly better than the Dodgers pitching situation for this game. So guys, looking at the Dodgers offense, obviously they're coming off of a crazy game. We're not going to go back over that. They looked fantastic in Game 1 of this series. They put up 5 runs, so it didn't even look that bad in Game 1. And over the course of the series, this has been one of the better hitting teams out there, and that's even missing Fernando Tatis Jr. for a big chunk of the season. We saw Manny Machado have a very good year. Lots of guys have a really good year on this team. They finished things up
first in the majors in batting average, batting 263 as a team. And numbers like that honestly mean a little bit more to me than the crazy power numbers feel like they mean in the postseason. That being said, the Padres are obviously coming off a game where they absolutely destroyed in terms of power numbers. So maybe that is something they can just do out here again. And it's not like they're going up against the toughest starter. So I do think there's a good chance we could see significant offensive output here from the Padres in this game. A team that can absolutely hit the cover off the ball. So looking at the numbers for this one, guys, we've got the Dodgers at plus 130, the Padres at minus 148. We've got an over-under of 7.5 in this game. The Dodgers were a good road team this year, 45-35 on the road. Nothing wrong with that. The Padres, a decent home team, 47-35 at home. Not bad at all. In terms of the over-under here, we've got both teams showing trends towards the over. The Dodgers 43-36-1 to the over on the road. The Padres are 45-35-2 to the over when playing at home. So plenty of reason here to look at, both two pretty solid picks. First of all, I definitely like the Padres here at minus 148. I think they've got a significant pitching advantage in this game. The only problem here is if this ends up in some sort of slugfest, it could kind of end up being something of a toss-up, but I really don't see Michael King letting that happen. My only concern would be that Padres bullpen, so definitely, guys, give me the Padres here at minus 148. I think it's an excellent spot for them. Maybe, I'm not going to say better in this situation, but I think equally as good, guys. I think taking over 7.5 in this game is very, very reasonable. I think we're going to see improved offense from the Dodgers here, even going up against a good starter. There's no way the top of the order is going to be as bad for them 2 games in a row. I'd be very, very shocked to see that. I also think that the Padres hitters are going to do very well here against Walker Buehler. I don't think there's any reason to expect some sort of insane start from him, although, he was okay the last time he faced them. I know, but I think we're going to see plenty of offense in this game. Getting to 8 total runs, not going to be a problem. We've seen the first couple games of this series look very, very reasonable in terms of offensive output, and the Padres, playoff games, they've scored over 8 runs in each of their last 3 playoff games, and in terms of the Dodgers, guys, they've scored well over that amount in both of their playoff games this season. So give me the over and give me the Padres here in this one. I think both of those spots are extremely reasonable. In terms of some player props for this game, guys, once again, we are going to be siding with the yes run first inning. It's at even odds. It's maybe not my favorite bet. Like I was saying, those no run first inning, yes running first inning, those aren't my favorite bets. But I do think there's reason, if you're wanting one of those early game gambles, to go ahead and take the yes run first inning. Seems like the superior spot to me in this game, especially since it's at even odds. I think there's a good enough chance that we see some scoring here in inning number 1. And in terms of some player props for this game, guys, I think we want to look at some bounce back spots here. First of all, Ohtani coming off of a bad night. He's plus 290 to hit a home run. He went 0 for 4 there in game 2. Give me Ohtani here to hit a home run. I think that's very, very reasonable. Plus 290, maybe not the best odds, but he is a monster out there. I don't think that's crazy at all. I also think Ohtani, once again, guys, over 1.5 total bases. That's at even odds. I love that one. It's probably going in the pinned comment. That seems very, very reasonable to me. Another guy here for the Dodgers that I think is in for a bounce back spot and is swinging the bat pretty well, has made some good contacts, been a little bit unlucky, is Freddie Freeman. Over 1.5 total bases for him at plus 135. That's an excellent spot, guys. He's in a good spot in the order. I think we're going to see him kind of turn things around and get on the board here. Not going to take too much for him to get over 1.5 total bases. I think that's a very, very live spot. Switching over to the Padres here, guys, I think we want to look at some home run props, and maybe from a guy who didn't hit a home run yesterday in that crazy slugfest. I like Profar to hit a home run in this game at plus 600. That seems extremely reasonable to me. Obviously, it's a bit of a long shot. The dude hasn't hit a ton of home runs this year, but well over 20 home runs this season. I think there's an excellent chance he could get a hold of this one in this game and to take one out of the park. And at plus 600, you don't need it to happen all that often for this bet to be printing money in the long run. In terms of another guy, guys, I think Machado here is in a pretty decent spot. He's swinging a very, I would say, a hot bat coming into this game. I mean, over 1.5 total bases for him, not crazy at all at plus 115. I think we could see him get, have another very good night. I don't think this is, a horrible pitching matchup for him at all. So definitely loving a lot of the Padres hitters player props for this one. I think they're in for a very good night. And at plus 115, that seems like a fantastic price. Last but not least here, guys, I like Mookie Betts over 1.5 total bases at plus 130. He went 0 for 4 there in game 2. I don't think we're going to see a similar performance here from Mookie Betts. The dude's just too good. He's got speed. He's got everything you need out there. Plus 130, that seems like a way too good of a price at over 1.5 total bases there for Mookie Betts. So, guys, that's all we got for the MLB slate, but stay tuned. We are going to jump into some NHL hockey action. Hey, guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. First of all, this is a great time to sign up at stumpthespread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our entire team of cappers covering MLB, NCAA football, UFC, and the NFL. If you just want to test out the service, a great way to do that is by joining our free email list, which will get you the occasionally free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just go ahead and click that link in the description. It'll take you right over to stumpthespread.com. Also, guys, just to clarify some of the questions we've been getting in the emails and in the comments, I am not the MLB capper for stumpthespread.com. These YouTube picks are obviously free to everyone and are just what I am seeing out there. We have an expert with nearly 15 years of experience that covers MLB and has a very strong algorithm and some very cool tools that he uses to bring our premium members the best picks possible. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you're new. Now back to the games. First up here, guys, we've got the St. Louis Blues going on the road to take on the Seattle Kraken. Let's keep in mind, guys, I am not the hockey guy. I don't even follow hockey. I know very little about hockey, but I have talked about these games to our NHL expert over at Stump the Spread. The dude is a monster. If you're on our email list, you've seen what his record's been over the last couple of years. You definitely want to consider signing up for a hockey package or just an all sports package because this guy is an absolute monster. So looking at this matchup, the Blues, they are not looking like they're in the greatest of situations. Management says there's no issues, but they just haven't been that great recently. They've not been the same since their championship win. They need to rebuild, but it doesn't seem like that's really what they've looked at here in the offseason. The roster's not going to compete for a championship. It's likely not even going to compete for a playoff spot. That's what I'm hearing. They signed a 40-year-old defenseman for some reason and a bunch of mid-tier talent, and that just doesn't usually end up in a championship run, and that's going to kind of where it looks like the Blues are going to be right now, just kind of trying to keep their heads a little bit above water. They ended their preseason there with a 6-2 loss to the Blackhawks, a 2-5 record there in the preseason. Not that amazing. Obviously, you don't want to take the preseason too much into account, but definitely something to at least, look at a little bit here in the early going. So not super high on what we're going to be getting from the Blues right here out of the gate. Seattle, on the other hand, guys, they replaced their head coach, and I mean, it looks like it should be a step up for them for sure. They're a year removed from making the playoffs like they did back in 2022. They added Chandler Stevenson and a defensive player, very good guy, Brandon Montour, definitely a monster out there. Both of these guys looking very good according to our NHL expert, and they should help boost this offense that wasn't very good last year, just not putting up a ton of goals. They ranked 29th last season in offensive production. So obviously not ideal there. Looking at how both of these teams have done in the preseason, I'm seeing a lot of relatively high scoring out there, guys. So looking at the total for this game, we've got an over-under of 5.5 goals. And if you're asking my opinion, I think the over in that spot is very, very reasonable. I think we'll see some sloppy goaltending on both sides in this game. And while neither team is amazing offensively, I do think we can get to 6 total goals here without too much trouble. Next up, guys, we've got the Boston Bruins going on the road to take on the Florida Panthers. Boston, I mean, they made a big signing there. Lindholm, 7-year, massive contract. He's a good two-way player, not a superstar according to my NHL expert. He'll get you 60 points, but I'm not sure what upside is going to be there. I mean, it's not a bad signing, but I don't think it really puts them over the top. Just a team that's investing a lot of money, but I don't know if they're really doing it that well. There have been some, overpayments going on there, just signing a lot of guys to a lot of big numbers, and we'll see if it can all, mash together to make this a big winning team. You've got the 5th highest paid starter in the league, and it's just not a guy that our expert feels like super duper moves the needle there. Goaltenders have a hard time being consistent. He's probably the biggest question mark out there. So just not a great spot there for the whole goaltending situation there for the Bruins. So a little bit concerning there, but generally speaking, this is a team that's invested a lot of money. I think there's some talent on that roster. In terms of the Florida Panthers, they're coming off a Stanley Cup win, and they've had a ton of departures, but they've tried to reload in the offseason. It seems like they've added some talent. They were hoping to make another deep run this season. We'll see if they can do it. Their defense was retooled, and obviously a short break here coming off of a Stanley Cup win. they might not be that great on defense here right out of the gate. We also can't really rely on Sergey being the same guy he was last season. Goaltenders who win the Stanley Cup tend to show some regression in the next season. And Boston has a good amount of firepower out here, rolling 4 solid lines out that should be able to score. So, guys, I think in this spot, it's a little bit of a long shot, a little bit of an underdog here, but I do think we're going to go ahead and ride that trend here of the Florida Panthers possibly having something of a Stanley Cup hangover. Give me the Boston Bruins here at plus 132. I think that is a relatively solid spot here in an opening season game, despite it being on the road there at Florida. And guys, we're gonna hop into some player props. These are straight off the hot off the press, coming from our NHL expert guys. I'm gonna butcher some of these names. Like I said, I am not an NHL guy, but we like one of these St. Louis Blues guys, Braden Shen. He comes into this one with an under. I think we're looking at him to not have the best night. Under 2.5 shots for him at minus 190 is a prop we definitely like. I also think here, looking at a Florida Panthers prop, Verhaeghe coming into this one, under 3.5 shots for him at minus 155 seems like a good prop as well. Oliver Bjorkstrand comes into this game, under 2.5 shots for him at minus 162 there for the Seattle Kraken. Seems like a reasonable spot there for him. And Pavel Zacha coming into this one, plus 360 to score a goal there for the Boston Bruins. That is a kind of a long shot, obviously, but seems like a very reasonable price there for me. And last but not least, guys, Brandon Montour, over 0.5 assists at plus 240 there for the Seattle Kraken. I think we could see him have a good enough game out there on the ice to get that assist and to get us the win on a plus 240. Seems like a pretty reasonable price. So, guys, that's all we've got for today. Unfortunately, not a super busy day out there in the world of sports. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. You can click the link in the description to check out stumpthespread.com, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.